Good morning, it's Thursday and it's time for Ask Baldy. We're doing it a little bit differently today in that I'm sitting outside, and believe it or not, when I came out to do this it was actually quite sunny, but this is Ireland and as you can see it's clouding over already. But anyway, today we've got a question from a guy called Dave Blakenham, and he says, "Thanks John, this might be an Ask Baldy thing." This was in response to my email on testing yesterday, and he said, this just prompted me to ask a question I've never got a decent answer to, brackets maybe there isn't one, close brackets. What if it takes you a long time to get 200 conversions? We get about 100 sign-ups a month to our list, each is worth £500 to £1,000 lifetime profit when we convert them, and we get many of them eventually, so it's worth doing. Are there any other ways to get feedback faster? Or should we change product/market/approach? Should we be selling to different stuff to different people so we can test conversion rates better? And this definitely isn't a small business only thing. Anyone, including corporates, can presumably have this problem if they sell into a niche. And there's a bonus question, which is, and the other related question is, do Google use click-through conversion rates to prioritise their efforts? I've had a series of image ads for remarketing sitting in status waiting for approval for over 6 months now. I can only assume they throw people at the most profitable jobs and not small advertisers like us. Well, I'll answer the second question first because it's going to be quicker and easier, and the answer is I have no idea. I know what remarketing is, and I understand how it works and the power of it, but I don't really know how Google implement it. If it's been 6 months, the best thing I can suggest you do is try and contact Google and see what they have to say, but you know, good luck with that one. But okay, let's go back to your question about a long conversion process, sales process. Now, there probably isn't anything you can do about that. I mean, you can play around with, for instance, you know, doing offers, maybe upping the urgency, maybe doing some kind of time-limited deals. You can do those just to get people maybe to decide on the spur of the moment, if you like. People are sitting on the fence, to push them over on the short term. You could try doing that. That's one thing you could do. The other thing about testing is this. I'm an ex-software engineer myself, so I'll use an analogy which will probably be familiar to you, and that's Blackbox testing. You know that your sales conversion process basically starts with getting traffic, getting sign-ups, seducing them, making the sale. And I don't know how many steps you've got, but you're going to have at least 4, I'd imagine. What you can do is test each one of those in isolation, because obviously you get more people in than you have buyers. So what you should do is perhaps start testing what's the best way for us to get traffic, what works best for us to get traffic, and then test what works best to get that traffic to sign up, and then what works best to get that traffic to click through to these pages, and then finally what works best getting those click-throughs to converting customers. And you can test each one in isolation, because you know it's going to be very likely that if you increase, you've got 4 stages. It's very likely if you increase your success at stage 2, even with the same success at stages 3 and 4, you're going to get a bump. So that's a reasonable thing to do. I mean, you know, from testing, you know, if you want to test a really complex piece of software, for instance, if you imagine one humongous test to test everything in Word for Windows, it would probably take longer than the projected lifespan of the entire universe to do it, because there's just so many combinations. But you can test each component as a black box, inputs and outputs, very, very successfully and very easily. I'm sure you're familiar with that. That's what I would do. And the way to start, in my opinion, is to increase your traffic. 100 sign-ups a month. I don't know what you're selling, what you're doing, but that is fairly low. That is the first place to start. Get more articles written, for instance, to get people to drive traffic to your website, and test your sign-ups, because that's the quickest win you're going to have. I hope that's answered your question, at least in part. If not, drop me a line and we'll see what else we can do. All right, mate? Well, that's it for Ask Baldy this week, because it's actually started to rain a little bit, and I don't like getting wet too much. All right, I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.